Biden officially signing the $1.7 trillion omnibus spending bill last night in St. Croix, averting a government shutdown. Joining me now is Georgia Congressman, member of the House Energy and Commerce Committee and the House Budget Committee, Buddy Carter. Congressman, it is good to have you here. So the bill got a lovely on-time flight to St. Croix.
Yeah, appropriate that he would sign a $1.7 trillion bill in St. Croix while he's on vacation. Look, you know, as congressmen, we are guardians of the taxpayers' money, and there's no way we could have possibly read a 4,000-page bill given to us 3 hours before we were to vote on it. It's ridiculous. This is a result of the Democrats not being organized. This is why we in the Republican majority have to get back to the regular process of passing a budget, of making sure that we meet our deadlines. We're committed to that. We're committed to having oversight. As guardians of the taxpayers' money, there's no excuse why we should be having these CRs, no excuse why we should have this omnibus thrust upon us, thrust upon the American people, without even time to read the bill.
Yeah, I mean, Congressman, obviously, you know, that's the worry is more inflation, and that's an understatement on this bill, $1.7 trillion. I want to move on to Southwest Airlines. So they expect that normal operations are going to start today. They've canceled nearly 16,000 flights, but you've got Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg facing a lot of criticism over this. You had California Congressman Ro Khanna going after him, saying, you know, look, 6 months ago, that he and Bernie Sanders said fines should be imposed on airlines for canceling flights. Listen to Buttigieg and what he said to James Corden on The Late Late Show.
Do you think this issue will be sorted in time for the holidays?
I think it's going to get better by the holidays. We're really pressing the airlines to deliver better service.
All right. Well, that was in September. That didn't happen. And really quick, I just want to say Fox's Peter Doocy obtained the letter that the secretary wrote to Bob Jordan, CEO of Southwest Airlines. And this is what, you know, Buttigieg said yesterday. You know, what happened is unacceptable. I want to reiterate what you've heard me say often. Americans expect when they purchase an airline ticket, they arrive at their destination safely, reliably, and affordably. I think it's pretty safe to say nobody flying Southwest Airlines had that experience this week.
You know, talk about buyer's remorse. Here we are, we in Congress had given the airlines over $90 billion to make sure that they could maintain their employees, to make sure that we wouldn't have exactly what has happened to happen. That's what that is buyer's remorse. I wish we could get that money back because obviously it didn't work. And this is what happens when you have someone in a position like over transportation, like Mayor Pete, who is obviously in over his head and has no clue whatsoever what commercial flights are like. I mean, after all, he's flying private jets on the taxpayers' money. He's not flying commercial like I am at least twice a week. I know what a mess the airlines are in right now. And I can tell you, this is not getting better. What happened, you know, you can never replace the Christmas holidays of 2022. What happened to these people, what happened to Americans here, this is going to be something that's going to last forever. And these airlines should be ashamed of what they have done. They have ripped off the American taxpayers, and we cannot stand for this. We need someone in this position besides Mayor Pete. Him being the commissioner of the Department of Transportation, this is about like Kamala Harris being the border czar. It's ridiculous.
Well, he couldn't fix potholes in South Bend when he was mayor, Congressman. But Rob Astorino's on set with me. He's got a question for you.
Congressman, first off, good luck with the Georgia Bulldogs against Ohio State in the Peach Bowl. Second, so take me to January 3rd. Are the 5 holdouts right now in your conference and the Republicans, are they going to reach a compromise to make Kevin McCarthy the speaker, or are we going to have a circus?
I'm convinced Kevin McCarthy will be the next Speaker of the House of Representatives, and he will be a great Speaker. Yes, we've got some concerns. There's no question about that. But look, Kevin has worked through this process. We've made rule changes, and I'm very proud of the work that has been done during the time that we've been setting our rules for the next Congress. And we made concessions that without giving away the House, if you will. And I think they've been good concessions. I will be the first one to tell you that there were some rule changes changes that need to be made. So through this process, I think we've become better as a conference. I'm looking forward to Kevin McCarthy being our next Speaker of the House. I think he's going to be a great speaker.
All right. And I've got economist John Lonsky on set with me as well, sir. Hold on.
Yes, looking forward, I mean, what does Congress plan to do to rein in spending in the new year?
What we've got to do is we've got to be, the main thing that we've got to do is oversight. We've got one of the strongest tools in our tool chest is oversight. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to have oversight. I'm one who believes very strongly, and this is one of the reasons I'm running for chairman of the Budget Committee, that we need to go back and we need to look at these ARPA funds and these IRA funds. And a lot of this money hasn't been spent yet. We need to retake that money back. And we need to make sure that some of this money that has been allocated that hasn't been spent, that we get it back. Not only that, but we've got to be extremely careful about what we're spending money on. Government's gotten too big. I think we all recognize that, and we've got to get it back to where it was intended to be. The biggest problem we've got right now is just too big of a government, and the rules and regulations, those are the things that are crushing our economy.
Yeah, I want to ask you about your agenda coming into next week, actually, when y'all are sworn in again. Oil prices are up right now. You are on energy and commerce. You've got a lot more countries considering travel restrictions on Chinese travelers. But overall, the hope is that with China reopening, that would actually help the global economy. But that's also going to put more demand on the oil patch. What do you say to that?
Well, obviously, look, China's got some serious problems. They have mismanaged COVID since day one. There's no question about that. And they're continuing to do that. That's why we've got, to that, I would say there are two words: energy independence. That's what we need in this country. That's what we had before this administration took office. We need to reclaim our energy independence. We need to be using the cleaner natural gas that comes from America. We need to be exporting it. That is what needs to happen. We've got all the energy needs that we have right here. I'm one who believes that we should be deterring our reliance on China. We should not be relying on them at all for anything, not as a consumer, and certainly not as a supplier. That's why we've got a lot of the supply chain problems we've got right now.
All right, Congressman Buddy Carter, it's great to have you on the show. We will see you in the new year. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we've got a lot more coming up this morning.